Are you thinking about removing that financing condition in your offer when it's a multiple bid scenario? Well, just before you do, I'm going to ask you to watch this video till the end. It's an interview with Andrea Galbraith, RBC mobile mortgage specialist, and she's going to review with you the components of financing and just make sure that you're making an informed decision and you know the risks. Other videos on my channel are everything real estate, whether you're buying, selling, or investing, and all related topics. So I would love it if you would please like, share, or subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell button so that you can get notified of future videos. So anyways, onward to the videos. Thank you. Hi everyone, it's Kristine Newman with Kristine Newman Real Estate at Davenport Realty in Burlington, Ontario. Welcome back to Talk Tuesday. It's been a while since I've done one of these videos, and I'm so glad I've got my friend Andrea Galbraith back. She's the mobile mortgage specialist at RBC. Hi Andrea, how are you doing?
Good morning, I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. So Andrea, we were talking yesterday in our team meeting, and you were part of that, this market is really unique. We have a lot of buyers fighting for very few properties for sale in the market for the most part. Overall, we're seeing this being a seller's market. We have a low inventory, meaning a low number of homes for sale. And so we're finding ourselves getting into multiple offer scenarios where we're trying to go in with as clean an offer as possible, which means as few conditions as possible and as high a price as we can go. And because that's what the sellers are now able to sit back and pick and choose from the absolute best offers presented to them. But this poses a challenge when we're representing the buyers, because really our job is to protect them as well in this process and to provide good advice. I thought maybe today we could just talk about, once again, it's the financing behind these purchases. And so many people right now are wanting to go in, removing the financing condition. Why don't you talk through, how that financing piece works again, and let people know, the two main parts of financing that isn't always in their control, that they should bear in mind when they're wanting to remove that condition?
Yeah, no, it's a good question, and it is a hot topic right now. I'm working with a lot of new buyers, a lot of repeat buyers who are feeling the pressure to go in and quote unquote be more competitive without conditions. And I do caution them. And the reason I do caution them, and again, to your point, as advisors, both from a real estate agent perspective and a mortgage specialist, financing specialist, we do have to protect our buyers. And so the way I like to look at it or simplify it is financing is a pie. Okay, I like analogies, so I'm going to talk in that term. So half of the pie is the pre-approval. So when you're working with a client and you're about to take them out and look for a new home, it's always a really good idea. In fact, I encourage it for them to come and see me virtually, because we are working virtually right now, to do a pre-approval. And with Royal Bank, we differentiate ourselves from a lot of lenders out there because we do take all of our documentation up front. So filling half of that pie, if you will, is that pre-approval, where I'm going to request their income documentation. I'm going to request that they give me approval for accessing their credit bureau, and I'm going to be able to verify their down payment, whether that's gifted funds, cash savings, RSPs, whatever it might be. I take all of those documents up front. I do the pre-approval, and we get a pre-approval for that client, knowing that we have all the documents in the credit bureau substantiated, and knowing that they now qualify for what they're looking at doing, what they're looking at buying. I've taken all of their credit and their statement of affairs into account, both their assets and their liabilities. And I say, okay, client, you're ready to go out and shop for your home.
And that's when I go out with them and make sure I show them those homes that fall within that budget. We don't want to start showing them houses they can't afford. We now know what's the budget.
Right. They have a clear idea, a very clear idea of what's within their budget. They've looked at their own budget. but they've also looked at what their debt servicing is, and they fit within our parameters of what we are able to get approved. So that's only half of the pie filled. The other half of the pie is the property. And a lot of people go out shopping and think, okay, well, I'm just going to put in an offer and I'm not going to put a financing condition on it because I've been pre-approved. Well, that's a misconception, okay? Because we can only pre-approve them and only fill half that pie at this point. The other half of the pie, which is the firm approval stage of the transaction, which is approving the property. And the only way that we can approve the property is through an appraisal. And the only way that we can order an appraisal is with an accepted offer. But what the risk is that they come into when they go in without a financing clause is, one, half that pie isn't filled yet. They don't know if the property fits the parameters of the lending criteria that's required. Mm-hmm. Do most of them fit? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Is there the odd one that doesn't? Yes, there is. So that's the risk. Is it a massive risk? You know what? That's for them to assess. But I strongly recommend a financing condition. We can get that condition removed within 5 business days. And the reason we ask for 5 business days is, in part of that process is we take the purchase agreement and the MLS listing and we order the appraisal. We don't always know what type of an appraisal it's going to be, nor do we have control over that. The market will drive that, and the house or the home and the value of it will drive that. So a full appraisal can take some time. The appraisal company needs to set up an appointment with the listing agent. The listing agent needs them to have access to the home, and they need to do an actual on-site visit. During COVID, the appraisal companies are covering all COVID-19 guidelines, distancing. A lot of the cases, they don't even go into the home, but they are following the strict guidelines. The other scenario is a market evaluation done through comparatives. And if that's the case, then I will get that back relatively quickly, sometimes even immediately. Okay, that's when I can move to getting the firm approval. Now that I have the whole pie filled, I'm going to then submit that to my credit department, and I'm going to get a firm approval for that client. And at that time, that client's going to be able to put their head on their pillow at night knowing that they've fulfilled all of the conditions. They have all of the details in front of them, including what did I pay for the home and did it appraise for that value? Because a lot of the time in a competing offer position, if we've got, 3, 5, sometimes 10 people in line, that price of that home starts to escalate because these people want this home so badly. And if they're going in without a financing condition, and then we appraise the property and they, for all intents and purposes, have overpaid for it, then they are liable for that difference between the appraised value and what they actually bought that home for. And sometimes that means substantial amount of money, and they may or may not have that money, but yet legally they're bound to that purchase agreement because there were no conditions. So that's where the risk comes in.
So, and just to be clear, when you're saying, they bought the house for $800,000 in this bidding war, but the bank said, well, really, it's only worth $720,000, and they have a down payment, but there could be, say, $30,000, $40,000 that they've now isn't covered by the mortgage or their down payment. So, what are choices in those scenarios? What do people do?
I hope it never happens.
Yeah.
And just to be clear, the bank doesn't appraise the property. The appraised value comes from an appraisal company, a certified appraisal company. So the Royal Bank isn't actually appraising the value of the property. That's done with arm's length with a third party, an appraisal company who's experts in appraising values of properties. So in your scenario, if let's say, for example, you've got a client who bought a home, they only have a certain amount of money coming out of their sale proceeds of the one they just sold, and that's what they need to qualify for the new mortgage they're taking on, or that's what they need to fit within their budget, and they're going to put all of that money, all of those sale proceeds in, and let's say they're $30,000 short between the appraised value and the value that they actually purchased at. They're going to either have to borrow that money, take it out of savings. They're going to have to come up with the difference because I only lend to the lesser value of either the appraised value or the purchase price.
Okay.
So just because, even in other scenarios on the reverse, just because your appraised value comes out slightly higher than what you paid for it, I can still only go to what the purchase price is because it's the lower of the two.
Gotcha.
But on the reverse, it could impact people from well, I don't have $30,000. I can't close on this home.
Right.
I need to borrow money from parents. I need to take money from my investments. I need to, cash in, some stock, whatever it might be. They're responsible for that shortfall. And again, our strong recommendation and the advice that I provide to all my clients, whether they're new buyers or repeat buyers, is that financing clause is important. And that 5 business days is a relatively short period of time, and very much a standard in the market.
Right. So great. Thank you so much. That's great information. I think what we're trying to tell people is that despite the environment and despite the desire to go in without that financing condition in order to get that home, you really must understand the consequences of that decision and understand the downstream issues you may be creating. But that's great. That's why we're here. We're here to explain. We're here to advise. And thanks so much, Andrea. I hope that I'm sure everyone else really enjoyed that information. And thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you for having me again today. I really appreciate it.
Great. Thanks.
Make sure that you see more of my videos by clicking on the playlist right over here. And if you are in the Burlington or Waterdown regions and you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, please give me a call. My contact information is in the description. Once again, it's Kristine Newman with Kristine Newman Real Estate here at Davenport Realty in Burlington, Ontario. Looking forward to working with you.